December 9th, 2023. Well, I have some bad news from Vladimir Putin. He may be an anti-hero, but he is not Times Magazine's Person of the Year. That went to Taylor Swift, who is also another anti-hero, according to her song. But anyhow, a little joke there for you, but that's that's an interesting situation there. But getting down to what this is really about, of course, is we seem to have a little definition on what's come of the UAP disclosure effort in Congress. And I think the disclosure team, such as Christopher Mellon and many, many others, are a little bit disappointed, to say the least. I may be understating when I say a little bit disappointed. But they got something. I mean, they went for the whole enchilada, and they kind of got, well, I don't know, got a few taco chips or something and some salsa. But at any rate, apparently there is going to be in the conference report, and I presume that will pass. There is language which is kind of interesting. It's a totally different approach. First of all, there's going to be no 9-member panel, no eminent domain, and actually no specific mention of artifacts or materials, or for that matter, even non-human intelligence. Instead, it looks like what they're really talking about is UAP records. I don't know. I mean, like, it seems to refer to all government offices or agencies. And I need to get a little bit more into the detail here, but I guess to figure that all out. But it looks like the idea is that the government is, first of all, going to have the archivist is supposed to start archiving within, I think, 30 days of the enactment of the act, signature by the president. Start archiving all agency UAP records, and that seems to be what the language seems to be saying. Yeah, you can see where that could kind of go into a certain direction here. I'll get that a little bit more later, but you get the idea that well, I mean, and that they're going to be able to make these available to the public if they're declassified, and of course, the classified ones will be declassified if there's no statement by the original classifying authority that this would be injurious to national security or foreign relations, and also there's protections of personal privacy. So, like if I guess John Smith were to report a UAP sighting, I guess you could blank out John Smith's name so that maybe it won't affect his job or career or something or whatever, and that sort of thing. So that gives a lot of leeway to withhold information. I mean, on the other hand, I guess this will be like a super project Blue Book, maybe, huh? Like Blue Book update, what happened since Blue Book? There are regulations against on UAP records are not supposed to be destroyed, folded, mended, or spindled. No, mutilated or something like that. I like that. You can't mutilate those things, let alone destroy them. And so at least they're supposed to be preserved and archived. And so if and apparently 25 years after the creation, they're supposed to be available for release. But I think there's probably still some proviso that if it's really critical, and so anyhow, so we ought to be getting a lot of material, I guess, eventually here that we haven't seen before. So anyway, but if you like these videos, please give me a like on that, on the thumbs up there. Of course, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you've actually unsubscribed, or if they've unsubscribed you, please resubscribe, and don't click it unless you know that you're unsubscribed, because it's an on-off button. And of course, you can share with anybody that's interested. Well, anyway, so that's kind of what it's looking like. Well, they didn't promise us a rose garden. I mean, after all, it is Congress, which is the opposite of progress, but anyhow, I'm laughing. I guess I could be mad. I don't know what to say here. I think a lot of people were cynically telling me. I know on some conversations I had with the space show host, David Livingston, he had some rather negative comments about the whole subject, and I guess he's been vindicated a little bit on that. Um, but yeah, I guess like I say we'll probably be getting a lot more records about I guess things like if some pilot reported something, a sighting, and it got an official report, then that will be going into the archive. And if it wasn't done on some classified sensor system that we don't want to reveal, or if he wasn't flying over enemy airspace or something and we didn't want to reveal we were there, then maybe it can be released and things of that sort. We'll see what we get. I mean, I'm sure there'll be something, but it's obviously a lot less than we're. Well, I think the main thing I was saying all along, I thought we probably went a little bit too far with the eminent domain, because I thought that certain parties were going to fight back very hard, and they have lobbyists, as everybody has pointed out, and that might have been, it might have been a bridge too far. But especially if it would actually disrupt the research programs that are going on, but take them away from the people that have been given to do the research. Of course, I have a little bit of a different slant on things than many of the people in the UAP community. A lot of these people have a kind of an anti-corporate attitude, and they've never worked in the defense industry, and they have this sort of suspicious idea that I don't think is really valid. The fact of the matter is, the defense industries, about the only thing that they will fight the government over is their profit margins and who gets the contract. Beyond that, I think they're pretty much willing servants of the government. And so if they have a UAP that the what's that called, the global CIA Global Access Office, or whatever it's called, I think I might have slurred that up. If they've recovered it and given it to them for study, it's really government property already. You don't have to have an eminent domain law on it. And the big thing I see, in fact, what I've read so far, is it talks about reports. It doesn't talk about objects or crash retrievals or anything of that sort, or materials. And the fact that none of that's mentioned seems to me to be a big problem, much bigger than the things that they're worried about. Because, I mean, a report, what constitutes a report? I guess if there's a document that is an update on our study of a given object that we have, whatever that object might be, whether it be an intact craft or whether it just be a piece of debris, and there's a study, if that's a UAP report, then this is pretty good in that sense. At least it's going to archive all that stuff in a central repository, so at least we can kind of go from all those different agencies out there that are working on this thing and this all of government project that's kind of been hidden all these years, and can collect them in one place, I guess, and that's good. So maybe a future committee might even subpoena some of this, if the leadership has a little shift or something. These things can change over time, potentially. On the other hand, if a report is just, a pilot saw an object in the sky and reported it, and it's that kind of stuff, or an airman at base so-and-so saw a shiny object in the middle of the night, and it hovered around for a while over the nuclear weapons storage facility, or something like that, and it's just that sort of stuff. We already kind of know that anyhow. Of course, it'd be good to see the official report and how it was handled, but it isn't quite getting into that object that Admiral Wilson was told about, a certain defense contractor. We're not going to, apparently, were we going to get to find out about that and what the study on it has been, that lack of progress that they had over 20 years ago? I mean, how's the progress been since then? Are we going to get that? I don't know. I got a feeling no. So anyhow, that's kind of what I'm hearing here. Like I say, it's a step ahead, and obviously there's some powerful forces that don't want it released. And I don't think that the two congressmen whose names are being bashed around are really the real issue. It's some other people. Because, I mean, whoever's running this thing and whoever's behind this has a lot of clout. I mean, even presidents don't seem to really get what they want, or at least they're always persuaded to keep their yap shut about it. So I don't know what the real issue is. I mean, I think, like as I say, we seem to be learning a little bit more about the infrastructure behind this, that the CIA has got an office that's intimately involved in it. We always know that the Air Force OSI has a special project involved in it. The Office of Naval Intelligence seems to be involved in it. And there may be a subgroup in it that might be called something a little different. I'm not sure it really exists, or they're just whatever. And we're still unclear whether or not Bob Lazar was really on the level or what he was. That's still a little out there. But at any rate, that kind of gives us a slant on where we are. I will put a link to the article I have on it. And within that link is another link in the actual text, which I've not studied yet because it's going to take some time. And if anything new comes up, I'll post a comment if it changes the meaning from what I think it all means. But anyway, so that's about the way it is. Um, and we'll just hope for the best on this one. I mean, um, and there's always next year. I mean, furthermore, it's always possible that someday somebody will just start talking. I mean, I'm still left with the opinion is that if somebody actually were to say, yeah, I was at contractor X and I worked for 20 years on trying to reverse engineer this object that they gave us to study, and tells what he knows, here's the problem. If they actually prosecute this guy, which they probably could, um, they'd be blowing the whole thing wide open, right? An open court with sworn testimony by the government saying that what he said violated national security because he revealed the existence of this object in the study we were doing. So I don't know what would actually happen if that occurred, but there have been cases where people that were basically terminally ill. I think there was one Lockheed engineer a few years ago that had a little video where he was talking about something about this. But that guy, was kind of considered discredited, and he was kind of sick, and well, so was he taking that seriously? That's just an example. There've been other cases. There've been reports, of people that were working at Wright-Patterson that saw this or that or whatever, and so. I don't know. I think the truth is still out there a little bit, so to speak, but I think we're getting a little closer to it. I mean, to me, just the fact that some of the most powerful members of Congress and their lobbyists were engaged to this degree on the issue of UFOs says that there's something there. And I guess powerful forces still think it needs to be remain secret. So I'll be wrapping this up for now. I will uh, be posting this on Rumble as well, and of course my social media accounts addresses are in the description below. And as I said, I'll put a link to that article I mentioned in there too, so you can read it for yourself. Until next time.